I'm telling this story a year later because I now see that it was the beginning of the end of what was my life at the time. This was before we moved from the countryside and before the adventure that I'm on now began. This video is the first of two parts of telling the story of a trip that I took with my mom. A trip that changed my life and led me to where I am now. This all came to be because we were flying to California for my cousin's wedding, and this is me meeting my mom on the beach. Since we had come all this way, my mom and I decided to take a road trip to a number of special places that we wanted to see in this part of the world. But this moment here, at the ocean, is where it feels like the first deep internal shift of what would be several on this journey occurred. Shifts that would ultimately lead me to giving up the life I had and to what I'm doing now. I was lucky to grow up in a lot of different places in the world, and one of them was Hawaii. So seeing the Pacific Ocean again was a deep remembrance for me. This ocean was always a refuge, as much as it was something that scared and shook me at different times growing up. And even though I didn't get in the water this day, I still felt shook or reawakened to something that would become more clear to me throughout the rest of the trip. We and the rest of the family were only in Santa Barbara for a few days, where we got to spend some good time together, but not enough before it was time to leave. So for our trip, my mom and I were heading north. The plan was to fly to Oakland and rent a car before making the long drive to the first magical stop on our trip, Mount Shasta. After Shasta, we would drive all the way west to the Pacific coast and follow the coast to our second stop, the ancient redwood forests. From there, we would be able to hit the third area that we wanted to explore, which was the Pacific coast itself. And we would follow the coast and the ocean all the way back to Oakland.
I think we're good to go, Ben.
Our flight into Oakland had us arriving as the sun was setting, so we booked a hotel in an area called Novato for the night. Driving through the city after years of living in the country was such a stark contrast. As we were driving, it was really interesting for me to reflect about the time when I wanted nothing more than to live in a city, and my ambition was to start a company. It's amazing to me how many different people we get to live and embody in one lifetime, how our priorities change, or what we want to do with our life, or what we want to offer this world. Good lollipop.
Beautiful, isn't it? It's dry though. Okay, 11:43. Oh boy. Everything you touch is amazing. Like, you do the most simple thing, but it's so amazing. Oh, it's true. It's true. You don't see it because it's you and you're hard on yourself.
On our way to Shasta. The drive north from Novato to Mount Shasta was approximately a 430 kilometer or 270 mile drive straight north. To be completely honest, this was sort of a hard drive. The highway took us through some of the most fertile land in North America and where a lot of America's food is grown. It was a very visceral experience of this culture's relationship to food, to water, to the land, our connection with Earth. And if you can understand where I'm coming from, that was a lot. The other thing that was adding to the intensity of everything was that it was 113 degrees outside as we were driving. And even after leaving the valley and ascending into the mountains, we passed landscapes that were scarred by extreme drought, from forests charred by wildfire to lakes that were nearly dry. And if you're anything like me, you feel the state of the nature in your bones. It was a massive relief to see Mount Shasta in the distance and to watch as the forest turned green again. There's a lot I could say about this mountain. To the indigenous peoples who have lived here, it is a sacred mountain, and more recent arrivals of people say that it has magical properties, and some say that it is a portal to another dimension. I really don't know how to put into words what I felt here, but it had a deep effect on me. And now, in retrospect, I can see that it gifted me something that was an energetically subtle empowerment that in a few months from this point would give me the confidence to take the next step that I was taking in life.
All right, so we're going to breakfast.
Yes, we're going to breakfast.
And then off to... Oh, okay. You like really ready? Okay. Oh my God. I didn't know.
So ready.
Here we go. We'll go the scenic route.
Yeah.
Goodbye, trees. Don't always make linear, logical sense when you're on a pilgrimage.
I'm gonna say, I feel like you totally embody that.
You know, this council,
This is one of my favorite places. It's the headwaters of the Sacramento River, which is the largest river in California. The incredible thing is that the water is pure enough to be able to drink right from the source. The more I restore my connection and deepen my relationship with our environment, the more I've come to know that if there is anything truly sacred on this planet, it must be water. And so to find places like this, to come to places like this for me, is like finding a sacred temple or altar.
I think I got everything. Onwards. We're just getting ready to leave Shasta. We are now headed to Eureka, Arcadia to go see the redwoods. Wow, it's so misty.
Now I'm searching hotels.com for Fortuna.
We're just looking
I
for
think
one
we
night.
should just do, we might actually end up going further south.
And we may as well just stay where we end up.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. 3 queen beds. We don't need that. Let's just drive.
Okay. Just go.
Let's go. Did you get that too?
Yeah, oddly, I don't see us making a decision right here.
Yeah, we're here in the fog and a Western chainsaw. To the ocean.
I don't know where I'm going. This is why I love traveling with you, because it's so present. You throw it all out and you're just like, what's real right now?
Yeah.
What feels right now?
Yeah.
And then we just do that and it always works.
Yeah.
We'll have tomorrow and then we'll be able to do exactly what we're doing right now, which is like what feels good, what feels right.
Yeah, just start driving and see which way we want to go.
Yeah.
When my mom and I travel together, we leave a lot of space for intuition, or what we sometimes call an anchored impulse, to change our plans, change the idea of what we're doing, or even the route that we're going to take. That's where I know the magic of life and travel happen. If you get too stuck in a set plan or an idea, you sort of cut yourself off from what's present, and thus you miss the subtle messages and pulls that can take you to maybe not where you thought you were going, but where you need to be. Driving through this mist along the coast felt like going through some kind of magic threshold, which I now know it was because of the amazing things that were to come the next day.
So the coolest thing just happened. We left Eureka because we just intuitively felt like we should go south since it's kind of towards all the things that we want to see. We were looking around at hotels. It's incredibly expensive. Then we came to this one and we couldn't find it online. Went in, asked if they had any rooms, and she said, yeah, we have one room, but it has 3 beds in it and it's very expensive. And so we hopped in the car again and we were like looking up other places to stay, and we're sitting in front of the office. But then the most magic thing happened. A lady came back out. So I rolled down the window and she said, my boss gave me the green light to give you a good discount. I mean, it's still very expensive anyway, but still such a blessing. Got here led by intuition. I love that so much. Just very grateful. So grateful. Like, how cool is that? This is hysterical. This is such a big room. Like, Mom, you look tiny.
You're always telling me how tiny you are.
There's 3 beds. Oh, the other detail I forgot to mention is that this was their last room. It's like a roller coaster. This way, then that way. Just whenever you'd go around a corner, I would know it was a big one because you'd be like,
The next morning, we got up early and prepared for the next stage of our journey and drive. And little did I know, this is where my life was about to change. This is the part of our journey that would take us to some of the most incredibly mystical places that we had never really planned to come across, as well as coming face to face with ancient giants.